Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. Let's once again raise our energy levels. Good afternoon. Yeah. We have a very exciting speaker to finish off our day, and then there are cocktails, so we expect you to pay attention and be antsy in your seats. A few things to set the stage here. We're going to discuss now America's efforts to make its AI ecosystem accessible to developing nations, exploring different financing mechanisms, trust-building frameworks, the newly launched Tech Prosperity Corps, excited to talk about that, which embeds American talent in these markets directly inside foreign governments. So really interested to explore that with Michael Kratsios, Assistant to the President and Director, Office of Science and Technology Policy at the White House. Thank you for joining us.
It's great to be here.
So let's start with a cool thing that happened over the past week, the Artemis mission. Artemis 2 just splashed down a few days ago. It was a huge triumph of science and technology. You mentioned you were at the launch, which is very cool. In it, the return of the American space program to the moon is reminiscent of the Cold War era and the great space race that occurred with the Russians 60 years ago and more. Is the tech race the new space race? Is a question for you, where rival tech stacks are pushing countries into technical blocks. And nearly 70 years on from the beginning of the space race, what lessons can we take away from that, do you think, today that we could apply to the great AI race?
Yeah, I think generally speaking, it should be no surprise to anyone that every modern developed economy in the world is attempting to plow ahead with a comprehensive AI strategy and build some level of AI sovereignty. And I think given the power of these tools and what they're able to do to drive economic growth, to ensure national security, to empower workers, to unlock new moments in a country's economy, it should be definitely no surprise that both the Chinese, the Americans, the Europeans, everywhere we go, they're trying to sort of push ahead with the way that they can build some kind of sovereignty. I think what's a little bit more unique about this particular technology versus some of the nuclear comparisons is just how widespread the use of this technology will be. The use cases will expand across every industry that you can ever imagine, including sort of national security domain. And I think that's what kind of makes it a little bit unique. It is a truly dual-use technology that can be used in so many different places.
And you just made an announcement yesterday about nuclear in space as well. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that.
We did. So for those of you who track space policy, the president signed an executive order in December of last year that laid out the America's national strategy on space. The big highlights of it, obviously, we're going to put American men back on the moon by 2028. We're going to put the first elements of a moon base on the moon by 2030. And the other big announcement is that we are going to be pushing ahead with putting a nuclear reactor in space. And this is critically important for the way that the lunar base will ultimately function, and also for the way that we can move and transport cargo to Mars and beyond. So the strategy around how we do that and get that nuclear energy into space was released yesterday. And the key sort of thing about it, back to kind of this, the things we were talking about a little earlier, is that it is not something that NASA is going to do alone. It is a multi-agency effort to make this happen between NASA, the Department of Energy, and the Department of War all working together. And it shows kind of how to sort of achieve American space superiority that the president called for in his executive order. It truly is a multi-agency effort.
I really want to dig into this. So is it going to be on the moon, or will it, or our nuclear plant in space, or will it actually be orbiting, or what is the initial plan there?
There's lots of different use cases ultimately. I think what we want to do is be able to prove that we can put reactors ultimately in space, launched, and then activated in space. They can be used for lots of things. You can imagine on the moon itself, it could serve as a power source. Yeah. It can also do nuclear propulsion to get cargo from orbit to Mars and beyond. Like
a nuclear aircraft carrier made out of moon cheese. So I'm curious if there are any private enterprises involved in that effort. You know, I'm not referring to any ones in particular, but I'm just curious if there are any success stories from the international cooperation and public-private partnership sphere from Artemis that you could apply going forward to, and I'm now talking about the AI element of our race, our technology race.
So do you mean sort of the international elements of AI, or more or sort of Artemis?
I'm talking about public-private partnership cooperation as it relates to AI, lessons that we could learn from Artemis.
I think there's a couple lessons. I think as the administration has made clear, the launch cadence of Artemis is something that has been a real frustration for us as an administration. There was kind of a plan that you'd be launching these rockets every 3 years. There was all these different vendors that were trying to help to put this rocket together. And I think the lessons learned, and Administrator Isaacman has been very clear about it, is we need to move to a faster cadence, and we need to have tighter relationships with our sort of private sector partners in order to kind of achieve more realistic launch cadences and ones that can deliver us the goals that the president called for in the EO. So kind of when you sort of take some of the lessons learned and apply them to the broader AI race, I think what we want to be very thoughtful about is allowing the private sector to drive the primary development of these models. We've seen unbelievable velocity in the acceleration and essentially the development of these models from our top 3 American vendors plus the 4th and 5th ones that are also doing amazing stuff. But what we as a government need to do is make sure that we can absorb that technology into government use cases so that we as the USG can benefit from it at the same time.
Excellent. Let's move on to the global sphere on AI. You traveled to India to the AI Impact Summit a couple of months ago. You spoke about a lot of the efforts that the U.S. is undertaking to make AI more accessible for developing countries. One of those major hurdles is financing. Maybe you could expand a little bit about what kind of financing the U.S. is going to offer to make us more attractive to governments.
Yeah, I mean, zooming out, the general thesis around what is known as the American AI Export Program was born out of this frustration that a lot of us had in the first Trump administration about the state of the telecom industry globally. The Chinese and with Huawei had made a very concerted effort to essentially go around the world and sell subsidized, decent enough telecom equipment and kind of blanket most of the global South. We were stuck in this point where we would have to run around the world, and I remember personally having tons of meetings with my sort of tech minister counterparts, asking them to rip and replace. But that type of conversation is very hard to have when there isn't a real U.S. alternative. There's obviously Ericsson and Nokia and others, but we found a way through it. Where we are today is we're in this unique moment in history where the U.S. has the preeminent AI stack. We have the best chips, we have the best models, and we have the best applications. Every country in the world, as I said earlier, every tech minister, every prime minister is thinking right now about how they can apply AI to their country and how they can build an AI ecosystem for their country. They're asking questions about, do I need to buy NVIDIA chips? Do I need to buy AMD chips? What does my stack look like? Do I work with an American hyperscaler? What's the best model to use? Should I use open source in my government? What are the best use cases I should use? These are all questions that all of them have. America has the answers, but our ability to communicate those in a structured format to lots of different countries around the world is one that I think still there's a lot of room for that to improve. And that's why the AI Export Program was born. We did a request for proposals that came out on April 1st, and we went out to industry and said, come to the U.S. government with a stack, essentially a turnkey AI solution for countries around the world. And then we will partner with DFC and Exim and other pieces of our larger financing apparatus in the U.S. government to help make the procurement of that particular stack actually possible for a lot of these countries. And I think that's going to essentially allow the U.S. to set the standard for AI across the world.
And that call, that RFP, that call to action is for consortia to pull together to create that
correct.
Stack.
So
not single providers.
That is correct. Yeah. So I think what the realization is, even if you are the most sophisticated American private sector company and you're attempting to build an AI stack for your business, it is really complicated and it's like really hard. Now imagine that problem like transported to South America or Africa or Asia Pac. I think we want to provide quality solutions that check the boxes of all the things these countries are looking for, whether it be sovereignty or data governance. And we think that we've called on industry to put these consortia together, and then we can help amplify them and solve them around the world.
Great. Another item that you spoke about at the summit in India was around trust. And that's something that we've spoken a lot about today, actually.
Yes.
So I'm kind of curious, developing nations have higher levels of trust when it comes to AI, but at a big risk of missing out to the benefits of AI. What is the White House doing to ensure that America's AI push delivers tangible, affordable benefits for partner countries?
Yeah,
you just went through some of the examples
exactly.
of the financing you're offering.
I think it's kind of two things. I think one, we have to provide a convincing and very defensible and provable story that we can deliver on the AI sovereignty goals of all these countries around the world. no country, no prime minister can stand up and tell their people that he will not have control over the AI system that's deployed in his country. So we have to provide a technologically sound solution which allows that country to have the sovereignty that they deserve and that their citizens deserve. And I deeply believe that these American consortia that come together can deliver on that. Coupled with that, we can talk about the financing opportunities that will make it much more appealing and amenable to, or possible. But the third is something that you mentioned early on, which is, you can ask and you can procure a stack, but that last mile deployment, that understanding of how you can actually apply that AI to a particular solution, whether installing a new AI software at a hospital to increase the efficiency of the hospital beds, or work with your agriculture department to be able to apply sort of drones or some sort of remote sensing on your ag. That's not something that these AI stack providers can do, and that's why the Tech Prosperity Corps is so important.
If you would tell us about that, that'd be great. It sounds like a Peace Corps of tech AI experts.
It is technically a program of the United States Peace Corps, and the way we thought about it is we thought about what are the tools in the USG's toolbox that are there to help empower developing nations around the world. And Peace Corps came across our radar, and we thought about it a lot. I mean, we're a tech office, so it's not, we're not initially, that's not a core stakeholder of the groups that we work with. But the more we worked with them and the more we learned about where they were, I mean, to be perfectly honest, I think what we've learned or discovered was that COVID actually took a real toll on Peace Corps. The recruitment became a lot harder. Their numbers were were down. Yeah. It was decimated. And the challenge was, if you think back, like on first principles, like what is it that can be the biggest unlock for the goals that the Peace Corps is actually trying to do? If you want to bring sort of development, opportunity, and prosperity to these countries around the world, there is no greater tool to do that than technology. That is the unlock. That is what will provide the highest ROI for any of these countries. And to be able to sort of shape a program where the Peace Corps can start recruiting technology experts to come and partner with all of these great technologies, ultimately can sort of improve the way that hospitals operate, improve the way that agriculture operates, like install the right types of software at the national level so that people can have trust in sort of digital governance. That's the thing where I think we make a big difference.
Understanding that this is brand new, are there any host countries that have expressed interest in this effort in the Tech Prosperity Corps? What criteria will we determine to decide where we go with the Tech Prosperity Corps?
So generally, every time I talk about the AI export program, this comes up, and almost every country I talk to is interested in learning more. The key for us is thinking about what are the places where deploying an American AI stack serves the best interest, obviously, of the United States and also the benefit of the country. And we hope that, once these packages are created, it makes clear what we're offering. A lot of countries will come to us and say, like, look, this is why we want the stack and why we want to work with you. So I think you're going to have probably more interest than the number of folks that will be able to bring on.
Okay, great. Wanted to talk about the National AI legislative framework, yes. Which has just come out. This is definitely more domestic conversations on the Hill, but you're our tech diplomat globally. How does that impact regulation globally, and how do you see that fitting in our tech legislation fitting into AI legislation fitting into the global landscape?
The story that I remind any technology policymaker globally is, at the end of the day, they're sitting at their desk and they're trying to craft a policy for AI which will drive the highest level of AI success in their country and for their people. And we have A/B tested the various options. The Europeans have attempted to do the EU AI Act. Other people have attempted to do their own AI policies, and the US has had theirs. We know where the success is. It's not a debate. There's no confusion over what regulatory environment has led to the greatest AI breakthroughs in prosperity in the world's history. So as a first starter, what we like to do is we want to share our story. We want to share with the world what we are doing here in America that has led to these unbelievable breakthroughs. And a key piece of that is this national framework. We have something that we can now share with the rest of the world and say, look, there's lots of things the government should be doing to protect their citizens. And that is what this AI Ledge Framework is all about. It talks about what are the pathways or what's the right way to protect American children? How do you empower American parents so that they have controls over the AI tools their children use? We want to protect American creators. Those are creators that models train on and ultimately create all the very valuable movies and films and everything else that we do here in the US. And the third is we want to protect American communities. These are people that now have to live with data centers, and they have to be environments where, some people feel as if electricity prices are rising because of that. And the legislative framework addresses that and ensures that anyone who's built a data center has to build, bring, or buy their own power. So for us, and last, we want to protect American workers. And there's lots of different provisions in the ledge framework that shows that there are ways that you can lead in the technical revolution of AI, but also ensure that ultimately American workers are protected. And to us, I think we always want to serve as the example to the rest of the world as they're trying to catch up with us on, and they try to come up with all sorts of ideas. There is a plan that works, and we're already doing it here in the U.S.
Michael Kratsios, Assistant to the President and lead on the Office of Science and Technology Policy in the White House. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate your thoughts.
Thanks for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay, that is the conclusion of our program today. I want to just give you a couple of thoughts, a few takeaways. I won't belabor them. We talked about geoeconomics as statecraft. It's operational, clearly. We just heard this from Michael Kratsios. We heard it from Jacob Hellberg and Pax Silica earlier. We talked about middle power shaping and not just reacting to the multilateral system. We talked about economic resilience and shifting from crisis response and responding to all of these issues and shocks around the world to creating resilience. And we also talked about health and human capital as core economic drivers, which are critically important. I want to thank again our partners, Gates Foundation, McKinsey Global Institute, McKinsey Health Institute, Microsoft, and Open Society Foundations. We could not have done this without them. I want to thank all of our speakers, as well as all of you in the room. Thank you so much for staying with us and tuning in virtually from around the world as well. We appreciate you giving us your time during a busy week. I just wanted to also tell you, if you like this event, tell you about some of the other programming that we have coming up at FP. In May, we will have a series of engagements in Geneva at the World Health Assembly. We'll be doing our global health program there and a variety of different stand-up events. We hope you could join us there. In June, we'll be doing our FP Sports Diplomacy program, and that's going to be around just in advance of FIFA. We'll do that at the Qatar Embassy on June 3rd against the backdrop of the FIFA World Cup. And in July, we'll once again be at the NATO summit, this time in Turkey, in Ankara. So if you want to find out more about those events, go to foreignpolicy.com/events, and you'll see all the details. We have a reception starting right now, a reward for all your patience and fortitude and paying attention. So please do join me for a drink. Thanks so much.